You're probably well aware of a mechanic in the older versions of Minecraft Java Edition that used to cause world generation to break. At 12 million blocks, the world would no longer generate normally and would begin to create these really weird structures. I won't be going into the super specific aspects of this as it has already been talked about to death already. So instead we'll just move over to Roblox. Now before we start, I want you to get a good look at my Roblox character. Study every aspect of it. Really get a good look at it. Make sure you understand each pixel and each polygon. Got it? Okay, good. Okay, so, moving over to Roblox, the game I'm on is just a simple base plate with nothing else added. This is just my Roblox character in the Roblox game engine. On top of that, I'm using infinite yield in order to fly and change my movement speed and use free cam, all that. So you'll see that in the bottom right corner. But other than that, nothing else has been added to this game. It is completely barren, there's nothing else to do. Starting out slow, we're at fly speed 20. It's not very fast whenever you're trying to do what we're trying to do, but don't worry, it'll get faster. Okay, so now we're at fly speed 500, and at this point you can still see the main base plate that we spawned at, so we're really not that far away. And as time goes on, you'll start to see, by my character's sleeves, like on their arms, you'll see the pixels are starting to flicker a little bit. This is the first sign of what's to come. Okay, so after skipping ahead a little bit, you can see that my character has a very slight little jitter, you can see. And on the back of the arms, there's a very noticeable pixel glitch. I'm not sure what it is. Okay, so after flying a little bit further, it's very noticeable now. The outline of the arms, where the sleeve would be rolled up, is starting to have a very noticeable rumble, like it's coming out. You can very clearly see it. The whole character is starting to shake violently. If you haven't seen it yet, you definitely see it now, because it is extremely apparent. The character's face is starting to mold, and the polygons are coming off in just a really weird way. It actually looks really cool, but I'm not exactly sure why it's happening. The jitter is really obvious now, and it's all over the character. The face is getting molded, and the arms are shaking. The pixels are violently moving around, where at certain points you can see through the character. That's really weird. You'll see in the character that the glasses are starting to look really square. The hair is getting bloated and larger, and at certain points it's starting to get cut off now, so we're actually seeing true pixel glitches. The character is still shaking extremely violently, but it's only if you move right now, so it's still supposedly, I guess, normal, I guess. At certain points you're able to see through the glasses and see my person's eyes, which you're not normally able to do. We are now at fly speed 20,000. So at this point, the character is beginning to just completely break altogether. It no longer keeps its shape. It'll be constantly shaking no matter where you are. And it just, I guess the basic shape is still there. It's kind of obvious, I guess, but if you look at the top of the head, the hair is just, it just doesn't look right anymore. So after breaking the threshold, the character is just broken altogether. There's not really any distinct shape. It's just a mess. It's like a mess of boxes and pixels, and the polygons are all over the place. You know, surprisingly, the effects on the hair and the fire are still there. But other than that, the character is beginning to look more two-dimensional rather than three-dimensional. And it's really weird. It's like it's been unfolded, you know? It's really hard to describe. At this point, The character is completely broken. The polygons are all over the place. The pixels are intersecting with each other. It's completely two-dimensional. It looks nothing like the character that we started with. Once you make it far enough out, the person is no longer even much of a person. As you can see, I still have parts of my torso and my arms. A little bit of the hair polygons are still there, but for the most part, the character is invisible. So you'll see in a second, right as I switch to fly speed 100,000, my character goes and is basically invisible. You'll see just a little bit of a hair polygon and then poof, they're gone. No more character. So after you reach a certain point, while flying out in one direction, eventually you'll get invisible, which is pretty interesting. And as we return to ground level, you can see that everything is completely normal again. This has been a weird experience. So now we have to answer the question of why does this happen? And the reason why is probably because the precision of floating point numbers breaks down. A 32-bit float has 24 bits of actual data, along with a power which effectively says where to put the point. When you begin to go beyond a certain number of studs, which are the Roblox units of measurement, things start to break. The GPU only has a certain number of spots for digits, so as more digits are filled with the world's large position, an example is 9,999 versus 9, it has less space for the little changes. An example is 0.001 versus 0.1. The character starts to shake because while your camera can move in unfathomably small increments due to the nature of the game, the vertices of the character can now only snap to more and more noticeable increments. Eventually, these increments become larger and larger, so the player character, for example, the legs, must snap to the nearest part of a stud. Eventually, there is so little space for these little stud changes that they snap to whole stud boundaries and become perfectly flat. So yeah, that's why it happens. Anyways, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and you have a good one. Bye now.